о милости Господней. Его звать Дарик, он говорил, такой пример приводил каждой церкви. Еще будучи маленьким ребенком, от него отказались родные, отец и мать. Он воспитывался в детском доме, но он узнал место жительства отца и матери, и он не раз посещал их. Но приезжая туда, они ему говорили: возвращайся туда, в детский дом, там тебе накормят, там тебе напоят, там тебе положат спать. Он говорит: я хотел отцовской материнской любви. Я хотел, чтобы меня пригорнули, чтобы я почувствовал, как многие другие. Но я этого не видел. И вы знаете, он начал посещать молитвенный дом. Еще будучи маленьким юношей, но он вставал у двери и слушал проповедь песнопения. И он говорит, однажды подошел пастырь церкви, и он сказал: Дарик, ты должен простить своего отца. И вы знаете, этот маленький юноша, он имел такую болезнь, как эпилепсия. Его она мучила, и преподаватели не раз говорили ему прямо в глаза: вот, Дарик, лучше было тебе не родиться. И он говорил, какая большая несправедливость. Отец и мать, которые не дали мне ничего в жизни, которые не дали ни любви, ни ласки, ничего. И я сегодня должен простить. Как я это могу сделать? Но вы знаете, ему это слово было сказано несколько раз. И вот однажды он склонил колени и сказал: Господи, я хочу простить, но я не могу. И после этого он получил исцеление телесное, слава Богу. Он сейчас будем преклонять наши колени перед нашим Богом. Но знайте, помните, что мы будем прощены только тогда, когда мы простим сами.
20 стих. Туда приступили к нему мать сынов Завидеев, сыновьями своими кланяясь, и чего-то прося его. Эти сестры, мы всегда желаем благословения для своих детей. Мы всегда переживаем за своих детей. И когда постигает какая-то трудность, мы болеем сами с нашими детьми. Я знаю, что я приносил своих детей также в церковь. За них также молился Господи. Я хотел, чтобы они были благословены и Господом, и нами. И сегодня перед нами семья, они также принесли их пред церковью, пред лицом Божьим, и они что-то хотят. Они что-то хотят. Вы знаете, я так считаю, это место Священного Писания, что мать сынов Завидеев, она что-то хотела для своих сыновей. Она отдала их на служение Господу. Иоанна и Иакова. Она отдала для них и что-то хотела для своих детей, но сам Господь не мог понять и сказал: ну что ты хочешь от меня? Ну что ты хочешь от меня? И да, потом раскрывает всю тайну того, что она переживала. Может, как-то она сдалека захотела и хотела, чтобы Бог как-то благословил его сыновей, чтобы многие не услышали, и вдруг он открывает свою тайну. Я хочу, чтобы они сели по правую и по левую сторону в Царстве Твоем. Я думаю, что любая мать желает для своих блага, благословения. И сегодня про Саша, Тоня также желает благословения своих. Сказали, что мы будем делать это. Саша, ты обещаешь за Тоня?
С Божьей помощью.
Слава Богу. Это есть благословение, они обещают, чтобы воспитывать своих детей в наставлении Господня.
Вероника?
Да.
Они имеют земные имена, но они будут также иметь и небесные имена. Слава Господу. И, знаете, они будут жить на этой земле, им предстоит очень трудный, может, путь. Бог знает ихнюю судьбу, но наша задача, как родители, как церкви, благословлять. Знаете, когда Господь шел на Голгофу, там плакали жены. Да, Христу было трудно, тяжело, и они видели все это происходящее. Но Христос сказал: не плачьте обо мне, но плачьте о себе и о детях ваших. Какая-то большая задача возлагается на родителей, чтобы они могли не только даже воспитывать, дать необходимое для жизни, но они должны дать духовное что-то. Они даже должны молиться, не то что молиться, даже плакать пред Богом за своих детей. Я хотел бы даже спросить сегодня отцы и матери, сколько вы сегодня плакали за своих детей, чтобы они были благословенны? Дал бы Господь нам эту мудрость, чтобы мы действительно могли понимать всю ответственность, возложенную на родителей, о том, что мы должны воспитывать своих детей в наставлении Господня. Вот его сердце сегодня, и вознесли молитву к Господу. Я попрошу, чтобы помолился брат Саша, и прошу прощения, чтобы помолилась сестра Тоня, и потом мы с Юрой помолимся также о их детях. Давайте, вот здесь станем наши ноги.
Они служили Тебе, чтобы они жили для Тебя. Я прошу Тебя, это все во имя Иисуса Христа, Господь, услышь нас и благослови Тебе. Слава Божь будет. Аминь.
Берем нашу семью, Господь. Благослови, Боже мой, благослови нам, Иисус. Мы без Тебя ничто, Господи. Мы просим милости Тебя и помощи. Благодарим сердечно, что Ты помог нам до этого часа, до этого дня дожить. Помог нам быть на этом месте, Иисус. Слава Тебе, что Ты хранишь нас от всякого рода зла, что Ты хранишь нас в этой болезни, Господь, в чудных делах Твоих, Боже.
Господи, благодарим. Господи, вся церковь да скажет аминь. Аллилуйя, Господь. Слава Тебе, поклонение Богу. Во имя Иисуса Христа приносит Тебе, Отец,
славим Тебя, мы поклоняемся Твоему святому имени. Благодарим Тебя, Господь, за этот момент, который мы имеем в этот час с Церковью Твоей. Благодарим Тебя, Господь, за Сашу, за Тонию. Благодарим Тебя за то, что Ты давал им деток, Господь. Я благословляю именем Твоим святым эту семью, Господи. Благословляю именем Твоим их дочерей, Господь, этих близняток, во имя Божье Иисуса Христа. Пускай сила Твоя, благословение Твое, Сыну и Святому Духу. Аминь.
Сейчас откроем сборник 464.
Будьте благословенны, Господь.
Бабушке покажете?
Да, попал. Но его, в общем-то, я не против была его.
Скажи, здравствуйте, девочки. Не хочешь. Здравствуйте, девочки. Ну как, сравнение будет. Антон.
Сегодня церковь благословляла именем Господним нашим.
Тоня, давай им букетик.
Він тяжелый.
Рано.
Я его сама еле держу.
Это наши коллекции такие.
А ее нельзя. Держи, понюхай.
Давай, 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 давай. Ой, такие холёси. Такие холёси. О, убежала. Упадешь. А где самолетик? Самолетик.
Ляна, Ляна.
Самолетик, смотри сюда. На, Ляна. Ой, какая хорошая девочка. Такие цветочки некрасивые. Вон они какие красивые. Ну, посиди, посиди. Сейчас. Сейчас. Сестричка, не шевелись. Не шевелись. там возит гостиница. Спать хочет, а я ж не взяла коляску, думала, они ж скоро приедут. Они не едут, и я не знаю, где ее уложить спать. Этот вертолет уже кто знает сколько раз мотается. Что-то он
тушит пожар. Только мне кажется, он этим ничего не потушит.
Хорошо. Ну так можешь отойти, пока я сниму, вертолет садится. Уйди. О, еще одна тут помощница. Он, смотри, как он нырнул классно. Ну, маленькая емкость, я не знаю. Паш. Ты не пищи. Марк! Марк! Почаще надо. Он встал задом и никаких мыслей.
Она снять тебя не может, ты отворачиваешься.
Привет тебе, как ни в чем не бывало, что тут людей полно. Запрещенный. А так вот. Нет. Давай такой. А где он? Ближе. Да, у него хоть посидеть. А как он плывет? Ну что, он гонят его. Глянь, придет. Сопровождение. Надо было полицию, чтобы туда так сопровождать. Я не понимаю трудности. Задох. А как он думает сейчас? Он не встает, смотри. Думает, упертый, ну и я буду упертый. Посмотри, он быстро. А рука на нем приходит, да? Да, он так быстро. Да, это против ветра он идет. Ну, дай мне уже. А он же в полиции, да, стоит? Вот это все на него сейчас смотрит.
Девочка, а где папа?
Сестричка.
Сейчас я
Видела? Она вот лопнет, слышишь? Надулась. Смотри, слышишь, она уже не дышит. Давай, вот давай. Не подходите их к Андрею. Так ты что за настоечки? Настоечки я буду. Ну, не сюда.
Пошли не хочет. Пошли
Ты же это, тебе захватит.
Пошли до папы.
Разверни ее сюда, пожалуйста. Эдик, а ты куда пошел?
А ну стояла сама. Сама стояла.
Ей непривычно, наверное, на этом песке.
Выключи, пожалуйста.
Лапалась.
Стой! А то Андрей снимает еще.
Стричка, смотри сюда.
Класс. Еще один. А сейчас она еще не сядет.
Она роется.
Саша плавал.
Там он сейчас плавает.
Ну, провели его назад. А ну, крикни, Серега.
Как понял? Сергей!
Глупый. Еще.
Сергей!
Вот так, класс. Да, я б с удовольствием скупалась даже в его одежде. Что там обсохнет? Что он боится?
Ну так пойди скупни.
I want to go get him 435 pata una in Oh yeah? They're fucking expensive. They're very expensive. Hell yeah. But they're good to put it. They're good. Cállate, cállate. Ready, they want to eat, they're ready. Ready, we can get them for 180 or 350 up there. Yo me voy a comprar unos next week. ¿What size are you? What size si te quede muy apretado? Yo soy de 7 y medio y me voy a comprar un 8. Ay, no, es que yo tengo cara We had fun. Qué bueno que lo vinimos en el que los gallos querían venir.
Es todo tuyo, Leonardo.
Никакого страха, слышь, пошла и пошла. И поглубже.
А она уже знаешь, сколько раз ныряла?
Да? Эй! Гля, гля. Ну что там такое? Не дают поплавать, да?
Хочешь ко мне или нет? Смотри, Эдик, я поплыл на спине.
Глянь. Папочка, лови. Лови свою куклу.
А Серега ни разу и не скупнулся.
Так он же сплавки забыл.
А шорты ж есть. Он меня бы попросил.
Ну так какие шорты? Те, что ты приехал?
Иди домой. Пошли домой. Он боярин идет.
Ну, я не против, в общем. Ну как она не против? Просто что надо. Да? Так а что делать с остальными?
А что такое, что вы решаете?
Едете домой?
Домой?
Да. Собрание.
Да сейчас уже, наверное, кто как хочет. А вон,
А
там
вы
у меня
едете?
все собрано.
Вы едете?
Ехать на
У
собрание.
меня все собрано.
Собрания уже, наверное, нет. На фесту, наверное.
Не поняла, где они тут? А, вот он. Эдик! Эдик!
Оно там может чуть позже начаться.
Эдик!
Собрание. А сейчас там начало только 6-7.
Эдик плавает, да? О, какой! Поплыви, поплыви. Ой, смотри, как уточка плавает.
Давай, надо уже переодеться.
Ты что такое?
Не иди туда. Слышишь, не иди туда.
Эдик.
Ты шведку снимай.
А мне нравятся такие купальнички. Да.
Damn Kathy, man, when she drives this thing, I spill my coffee all
out, Mom. I get back early enough, I can keep it.
Вот голечко такое. Засмотрелся.
Залетел в пакет. Летел, до детки там вот залетел под руку ей так. Раз его.
Да.
Если не я, то кто же? Сейчас Маку придется покупать, а то вы понимаешь.
Мака будет купаться?
Да,
Да?
Дедушка и с папой, и с Андреем, да, и...
Будешь купаться, Мака?
а то рано
Иди
дедушка.
расскажи мне, иди. Иди, а то я не слышу, иди расскажи. Рассказывай.
Андрей.
Близко
Где
она
Андрей?
некрасиво, зачем?
Чуть отойди. Вот так, стой. Стой, Марк, стой.
Бабушка, я буду идти купаться.
Куда Марк пошел? Куда Марк пошел? А ну скажи мне. Вот это все.
Ты их хоть видишь?
Да. Хорошо видно.
На Биг-Берри они это, прямо над берегом плавают.
Да.
Я, да, когда с Хавриком ловили, рыба не ловится.
Глянь, они сюда идут, да?
Ловили там они рыбу.
Как вам дорога?
Дорога как дорога. Похуже бывало. Ездили никогда? Если будет закрыт, придется под Бельги ехать, если срочно надо. Ну то там дорога, там пока проедешь аж туда и дальше. Там проезжаешь по 210-му на 4. Все, а чья...
Ну, сколько тут массу. Мак! How you doing, Mark?
Это
Что такое? Холодно?
Холодно? Он ну, как помогает, так сказать, или там, короче говоря, скелеты, разные части тела нарисованы. Что как называется?
А? Ага. Я тоже засмотрела.
Кого тебе? Давай мама тебя помашет. Снял это. Стой здесь, чтобы не загорело. Поворачивай.
Пищит кто-то, да? Пищит. Марк, что там случилось? Ну, он же ни по какому не согласился. Ну, как приехали, но они ж так вот больные были этим.
Конечно, гонят.
¡Esto, cuñado!
Лена, а ты видишь Марка? А, вот он плывет. Плывет, Настя. Вот они все вместе. Это точно. Точно, что Марк дал им всем работу пасочки делать. Марк, а ну иди проверь, правильно они там все делают. конец пленки. Вот беда. Это он старается, наверное, так улыбаться. Вставай.
Бебка. 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 Да. Эдик, ну давай ныряй, я тебя поснимаю. Давай, ныряй. Ныряй, только с той стороны ныряй. Бебки не пугаешь, хорошо. Ну будешь нырять, Эдик? Ну ты.
Вы знаете, что у нас наша на... А вы были там на Wild Arctic?
Что это?
Классно.
Эдди, не брызгай. Вот это она купается так, да? Эй. Ты где почти села, да? Текает, текается.
Ну, немножечко.
Да.
Эдик, ты прыгнул? А сколько? Будет. Один. Ходи, ходи. Эдик, приезжай.
И купальничек какой.
Ей.
Ой, осторожно, осторожно.
Купальник. Сестричка в купальничке. Ей, сестричка.
Бебка. Бебка. Эй. Беб.
Вот он и едет. Что-то задумала. Тикай, Мака.
Куда смотришь?
Что-то. Ну да. Я? Да, да, да. Так и достала.
Девочка, дай. 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 Дай.
Дай, 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 дай.
Ты чё швыряешь, на? Хватило...
Сестричка. Вот она такая. Эти. Пошла, пошла, пошла.
О, Мака!
Да нечего бояться той воды.
Осторожно, Эдик, на бебку не брыкай. Давай. Опять чуть не нырнула, да?
Что-то она передергивается. Он... Видите, какая халюся. Эй! Эй!
Не снимай меня. Девочка, девочка, Эми. Дай. Покажи, девочка. Дай. Дай. Эдик, осторожно.
Это ремень у меня.
Ремень где?
Вот ремень.
Может подкачать бассейн?
А ну, добавите, может, и тут пополивать.
Да, парень хорошо.
Да это не то слово.
Надо выливать.
Эдик, не трогай. Не лей на нее. Схватить хочет. Ля, не может взять. Эдик, текай. Чего ты? Не поймала? Эдик, убери руки.
Мам, что, я попытался.
Все равно хочет поймать это.
Мам,
А,
там надо поливать.
поливай,
Мама,
Это сколько труда.
пожалуйста, замотай.
замотай. И папу позови, пойди. А стой, где позови папу? Скажи, папа, замотай меня.
Что, замерз, да?
Что там такое?
Ну то и она передергивалась, наверное, замерзла. Ты что, такая жара, я не знаю.
Все, снимай.
Ну ты...
Это минутное счастье. Девочка. Девочка. Эми.
Сестричка, ну что ты будешь делать? Неуловимая. Ковыляй. Какой хороший. ну потом. Ой, Эдик так хорошо улыбается. Чтоб тебе 100 лет жить. Ай тебе. Ну, а что у вас на селфи?
Ну пошли пошли по травке. Тёпало. До бабушки тёпало. Давай полотенце сюда, Эдик.
Вот миска косоляпой. Ну, это так сделали б ей. Дай это.
Девочка. Девочка.
Мама, дай мне мороженое.
Эдик, какое мороженое? Домой придешь потом.
Эми. Эми.
Бебка, ты домой пошла? Беб. Бебка. Ты сюда домой пошла?
Все, на 4
Ты
лучше.
куда? А ну дай. Давай слаживай.
Как на пляже.
На, давай слаживай. Слаживай. Вот у нее всегда что-то та должна быть первой.
Да.
Выбирает всегда вот именно эту первую берет. А другую уже на ней
Ну
говорит.
ты представляешь, это чтоб она понимала вот это. А,
Давай, ложи на это. На. Вот так. Вот так. Пакет. Пакет.
Не надо, я сама.
Давай. Поднимай. Поднимай. На, вот эту ложи. На. На, ложи. Сложи. На, девочка. Понимаешь?
это деловая такая.
Да.
Да, дай.
Девочка. На. Девочка, на.
Дай.
На, девочка. Да.
Чепушила маленькая. Вот умничка такая. А язычок, вот это чуть-чуть не захватила.
Что ты?
Ничего себе. Вот это она тоже делает.
Ну да, в конце так сложила.
Ага.
Только воду не брось, эй! Эй! Не бросай воду.
Мама, дай мне чипсы. Мама. Мама,
А,
дай мне чипсы. Дай мне.
Что, никак не сообразишь, как слезть? Все, сообразила.
Да, это моя. Ты можешь другую там взять?
Вот такая холёсия.
Дай
А
мне.
зюбочка у нее какая холёсия. Мягенькая, бархатная.
Эдик, ты будешь мне помогать? Иди сюда. Эй, Жа. Будешь помогать?
Нельзя.
Не надо, мам, не надо.
Нельзя, Эми. Нельзя это брать. Упадешь.
Эдик, перестань меня обливать. Моя маме
Эми. Эми. Эмочка. Эми.
Эдик, что мама сказала? Сиди.
feel. And so the Holy Spirit of God is here. And we want you to feel the presence of the Holy Spirit as He dwells within the hearts of His people and uses your hands and your voices to The sun shall not strike you by day, nor the moon by night, for the Lord shall preserve you from all evil. Give God a chance to tell you what you can do for Him if you become a committed member of this church. It's 9 o'clock next Sunday morning at the Robert Schuler Center. Thank you very much. Another daughter, 28, also cerebral palsy and a wheelchair. Then the other daughter who just had a baby, married and a baby, and the baby died. But But he just was smiling, thanking me for the hour of power. He said, oh, the hour of power. It's just wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I love you, I love your son. And that.
May the Lord grant you his peace. In your lying down and your rising up, in your labor and in your leisure, in your laughter and in your tears, until you come to stand before Jesus on that day in which there is no sunset and no dawn.
Это Моисей. Это круг горящий, но он обычно горит, а здесь сейчас он не горит, сейчас дождь идет. А вот его пузо, палка. А вот Моисей заповеди получил. Иисус идет по воде. Это стихи из Библии. Вот такая аллейка.
It's okay. Давай, пока они не... Ну, пока идут.
Головки знаю.
Они на работу.
Ага! Да ты что? Ага! Насколько? Ой, нет, я Наташа, я извиняюсь.
Это блудницу побивают. Вот блудница. Вот Иисус. Вот фарисеи. Вот Иисус защищает ее. А вот фарисеи. Этот вот держит камень. Бить собирается. Ты будешь сидеть? Ну вон тот, кому все надоело. Это сделано из мрамора. Стена. А вот у нас вы можете увидеть. Это все из мрамора стена. Тут тоже красиво. Такой фонтан, как стекло.
Вот тут можно, вот. Или вот тут спускали.
Давай без масла сами спускаться.
Ну, и паутина, и паук в середине. Это тоже из мрамора. Это статуя Ева.
Я сама могу туда попасть, да? Мне не надо там бегать. Сейчас я чуть-чуть покажу, боже мой, конечно. Тут я.
The story that shocked America
Really, all I want is you.
is coming next Tuesday to CBS.
Will you help me?
As his teacher, she taught him many things.
I'll do anything you say.
Including how to murder her own husband.
After you kill him, we can be together.
You've seen the headlines.
Either you're a coward or you never really loved me. I need you. Kill Greg.
Now see what really happened.
Don't take my wedding ring. My wife will kill me. God forgive me.
Murder in New Hampshire next Tuesday.
Ever wonder what goes on inside one of those stuffy prep schools?
You walk past 200 adolescent boys dressed like that?
I love the sound of expanding khaki in the evening.
Teach premieres tomorrow.
Get in the mood for sex.
You're going too fast.
Let's go too fast.
Lies.
I've been in business with Ewing. He can't handle this. He's a maniac.
And a missing videotape.
I send it to Greg Sumner. If he finds out you've been running around behind his back, what then?
Where else but on Knots Landing, Thursday.
This is CBS.
For continuous soft hits all day and love songs every night, there's only one. Coast 103 FM at 103.5.
It's not a fogger. It's not an aerosol either. It's Raid Fumigator. And it kills more bugs dead. Raid Fumigator's clean, dry smoke has twice the penetrating power of aerosol foggers to fumigate twice as many hidden bugs.
Kill bugs dead with Raid Fumigator Twin, now $7.99, key buy, priced at Lucky.
Raid Fumigator kills bugs dead. When you cook with gas, you're using your noodle, because it's only about 5 cents an hour. The Gas Company, glad to be of service.
Illegitimate kids who found their parents and wish they hadn't. Next, Geraldo.
Good evening, Southern California. This is Channel 2 Action News. With Bree Walker, Jim Lampley, Steve Rambo, weather, and Keith Olbermann, sports. Channel 2 Action News Nightcast.
Good evening. Breeze off tonight. Here's what's happening. What happens to America when air traffic communication fails in New York? Tonight we found out as a massive communications failure brought all 3 Big Apple airports to a standstill for several hours. Things are getting back to normal now, but the failure created chaotic conditions for air travelers in the east, and the ripples reached all the way here to LAX. Jody Baskerville is live down at the big airport right now with the story. Jody, what'd you find?
Well, Jim and Tricia, the power failure in New York did cause a few problems out here at LAX tonight. United Airlines and American Airlines both had to cancel some of their flights. But for the most part, passengers waiting to catch flights arriving from New York, well, they ended up with plenty of time on their hands.
Well, we have plenty of time. Yeah, well, you don't have to rush here.
The power failure in New York grounded the California Aerial Circus Parachute Team. These skydivers headed for Belize, Central America, got the bad news when they arrived at LAX to catch a 10:40 connecting flight bound for Miami.
They've indicated to us that we should get out of here shortly after midnight. If we do, we'll be able to make our connection to Miami, and so we're keeping our fingers crossed.
But moving 14 people is not a simple thing with all of our luggage, with all of our equipment. So I was a little dismayed to hear that in the beginning, but I'm sure a lot of people are in the same situation all across the country.
3,000 miles away, passengers at New York's 3 major airports faced cancellations instead of delays. Air traffic was halted after a power failure at an AT&T switching center in Manhattan. The problem grounded planes and stranded hundreds of air travelers.
We just sat and sat for about an hour, hour and a half, and then they just told us to come off the plane, and then they canceled the flight.
It's one big mess, and we were just lucky to get in.
Now that air traffic has resumed in New York, we're told that stranded passengers here will be boarding planes in a couple of hours. Reporting live from LAX, I'm Jody Baskerville, Channel 2 Action News Nightcast.
All right, Jody, thanks a lot.
And Jody, delays of another sort. A short time ago, NASA delayed the landing of the Space Shuttle Discovery because of bad weather. The landing was supposed to be taking place right about now, and we had planned to bring you live coverage of that event. However, concern about low clouds over Kennedy Space Center forced NASA to delay the landing by 96 minutes, or at least one orbit. Associated Press is now reporting the shuttle is scheduled to land at 12:38 Pacific time. Now, the announcement was made just about 5 minutes before the shuttle was to have fired its braking rockets to drop Discovery out of its orbit. And if and when it happens, the shuttle landing is the first scheduled nighttime landing in Florida. There have been 4 nighttime landings at Edwards Air Force Base. NASA officials are considering alternative landing sites such as Edwards in case the weather over Florida does not clear up tonight. Jim.
The Imperial Highway near LAX remains closed right now, shut down earlier today when scaffolding collapsed around an unfinished section of the Century Freeway. Work crews were still on the scene late tonight checking other parts of the Century Freeway. The wood and steel bridge supports known as false work gave way about 2 o'clock this afternoon. Debris fell onto Imperial Highway, blocking all 6 lanes of traffic. Investigators say it was a miracle that no one was hurt. They don't know what caused the accident. They say it'll be a few more hours before the Imperial Freeway can be opened. And a moderate earthquake rocked parts of central and northern California this afternoon. The quake measured 5.1 on the Richter scale, was centered about 14 miles northwest of San Simeon and the Hearst Castle. It was felt from San Luis Obispo to San Francisco, but it apparently caused no damage and no injuries, unusual for an earthquake of that magnitude.
Investigators, meantime, tonight are trying to determine what caused a deadly fire in Century City. A high-rise building became an inferno, forcing more than 200 people to run for their lives very early this morning. Jose Sanders reports.
It was a nightmarish sight for people in this building to wake up to. Flames leaping from the 19th floor of the Century Park East condominiums. It happened at 1:45 this morning, but most of the people here were sleeping.
Get out! Your building's on fire!
Firefighters had to battle the heat, the smoke, and the exhaustion of climbing 19 flights of stairs to get to the unit where the fire apparently started. They discovered one victim burned so badly they couldn't tell if it was a man or a woman. Then later in the day, another body. This is an affluent complex with many elderly residents. Some were treated for smoke inhalation. Most were evacuated to nearby buildings. For them, it was a harrowing experience.
I was frightened with the stairwell. If it filled with smoke, it would have been a disaster because wheelchairs and the firemen were trying to come up and wheelchairs were trying to go down. It was very crowded.
Although the building is just inside the LA city limits, patrolling Beverly Hills police were the first on the scene. They alerted residents, got some people out of the complex, and in the process, 5 policemen were themselves injured.
Were you scared?
No, just anxious just to get the job done.
Though sprinklers were not required in this Century City high-rise, firefighters say it's another instance where those devices would have made a big difference.
The sprinkler heads would have activated, that would have knocked that fire down right away.
For years, there had apparently been 2 factions battling here. One group of homeowners wanted sprinklers added to the building. The other said no.
I'll tell you something. It would be very, very expensive, and some of these people, it would mean moving out of the building, and it would be beyond the cost of some of these condo owners.
But residents returning home today say fire drills would have been just as important.
All of a sudden, in smoke and danger and panic, you don't know where exits are. All these people used the wrong exits. They came out under falling debris. There are 2 other exits that are perfectly safe. They didn't know.
In Century City, Jose Sanders, Channel 2 Action News.
The father who went to jail for chaining his teenage daughter says tonight he may have to do it again to get her off the streets. A judge released Elizar Marrero last night after he had been charged with imprisonment and endangerment. He claims he had no other way to keep his daughter Linda away from gangs and drugs than to chain her to an apartment radiator every night for 2 months. Linda Marrero got loose again today, and when her father finally found her, she still wanted to go with her friends.
Really, I put the chain one more time.
You'll do it again?
Yes, I put the chain. Because I don't want my daughter die. A couple of dollars.
The mother and father could go to prison or possibly lose custody of Linda and their other children.
Paul Crowder, the young man accused of murdering high school basketball star Berlin Cosman, took the stand today. Crowder testified the shooting during an all-night prom party was an accident.
I pushed open the door.
And then what?
I tripped. And when I was going down, the gun went off.
Berlin Cosman was shot in the head. The prosecution charges Crowder waved a loaded gun around during the party and expressed angry rage at Cosman minutes before shooting her. The LA County Sheriff's Department is about to put a new weapon in its arsenal, but this one is designed to prevent death. Deputies say it could be used in riots, jails, or during street violence. Channel 2's Chris Blatchford reports.
It's called the R137, made in England by the Royal Ordnance Company. And the LA County Sheriff's Department has now imported 20 of the weapons to give deputies another option on the streets other than deadly force.
It is designed to be used to momentarily incapacitate suspects.
The R137 fires this 3-inch plastic projectile. Experts say fired at the center of the body. The impact is like a hard punch in the chest. The R1 will be used in situations when more force is needed, but not deadly force.
One that comes to mind would be the type of incident where it is necessary to take someone into custody that has a knife, but is refusing to surrender the knife and is still combative. To avert any further violence, to avert utilizing deadly force in a situation like that, it may be necessary to escalate to this sort of weapon.
The R1's advantage over the more conventional electronic taser gun is its ability to be used from a greater distance. This, say sheriff's experts, gives deputies another option, an option that will be available on the streets of LA County by the end of October. In East Los Angeles, Chris Blatchford, Channel 2 Action News.
The Anaheim Police Department has added a new dimension to its anti-drug DARE program for school children. Horseback riding. Officers are giving 5th graders the opportunity to experience horses firsthand, to pet them and to ride them, and part of the DARE program teaches kids constructive alternatives to alcohol and drugs. Some of the kids had never been on a horse and they were a bit reluctant.
I'm going to be very scared to get on these horses, real scared.
Why?
Because they're so big and they look strange. And they look at me, they go like that.
I'm with you. Program is a big success, and as far as the kids are concerned, it's a great way to say no to drugs.
Wonder what the horses said about Chiquita. When we come back, Maclovio will tell us if this heat is the last gasp of a lost summer.
And after Miss America tells the world that this athlete beat her up, he tells his side of the story.
And Paul McCartney takes sides against former Beatles partner John Lennon.
Every Wednesday, a Coco's chef creates a special lunch with tender turkey, thin-sliced ham, and Swiss cheese. Coco's famous Monte Cristo sandwich. Only on Wednesday, and only at Coco's. And every Wednesday evening, a Coco's chef blends sautéed scallops and fettuccine in a light Alfredo sauce to create Coco's Scallops Fettuccine. But remember, it's only on Wednesday, and only at Coco's.
DHL was making express deliveries overseas before Federal Express was even in business. With a head start like that, we can simply do things others can't. DHL, faster to more of the world.
A classic embroidered blouse at fine department stores, $64. Now at Ross, $32. Top-name men's and women's athletic footwear at leading shoe stores, $65. Now at Ross, $35. Colorful cotton separates at fine department stores, $29. Now at Ross, $12. At Ross every day, the only difference is the price.
For the best in NFL football, see Cincinnati host Washington and San Francisco host the LA Rams this Sunday. Action starts at 10 a.m. on Channel 2. Sponsored in part by your Southern California Toyota dealers.
This neighborhood produces most of our Olympic team stars. It's where you'll find the Emerson Flag Company. They send thousands of flags to the Olympic Games. And for rush orders, they use express mail from the Postal Service. It offers convenient pickup service, guaranteed overnight delivery, plus great low prices, which could help a small company like this have a banner year.
We deliver for you.
The newly crowned Miss America, Carolyn Suzanne Sapp of Hawaii, is confirming reports that she obtained a restraining order against a boyfriend who allegedly abused her last year. Sapp's affidavit says her boyfriend, quote, beat, kicked, punched, threatened to kill her, tore her clothes, choked her, took a knife and held it to her neck and to her skin, and emotionally threatened her.
Moved forward, he immediately sought help in counseling, and I immediately realized that I needed to be strong. And yes, I do want to be a role model for other people in America, that they can be strong enough to survive, and I have.
Late today, Sapp's ex-boyfriend broke his silence and offered his side of this story.
I wouldn't say we. I had a problem. I have to admit that. I had a problem. Both me and Carolyn sought it out. We didn't want to settle it in court. We want to settle it ourselves, and it was done.
Sapp says the two are still friends and that the incident was, quote, personal.
Jim, this is an important night in the Jewish faith. At sunset tonight, Jews around the world began the observance of Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, a 24-hour period of fasting, prayer, and repentance, and is considered the most important holiday on the Jewish calendar. And it is nighttime as well. It is very foggy in lots of Los Angeles tonight, but not really cold, huh? Strange stuff going on.
Kind of like San Francisco, just foggy, soupy out there, and we're, well, not exactly like San Francisco. Sort of this, what happened here. It's kind of a reverse.
Is that upside down?
Yeah,
I think it is upside down, isn't it?
Yeah.
Either that or I'm not feeling too well tonight here.
That's the DWP building in downtown LA.
Or it used to be, or I don't know what they did to it. Anyway, Southern California. Yeah. And talk about extremes in temperature. 83 downtown, 63 at the beach. These are maximums. Palm Springs 110. Talk about a temperature spread. Along the West Coast, all kinds of unusual things happening. Tonight, the fog is thick along the coast, up less than a quarter-mile visibility in many areas. There is drizzle in Santa Monica and Venice and down by the airport. The fog is coming in about 5, maybe 10 miles and will be very thick in the morning hours. You may have to deal with it in the morning drive, those of you that hassle with the 405 freeway. Down south, Tropical Storm Ignacio is still off the coast of Guadalajara. The moisture is moving northward and it is getting ever closer to our area. In fact, by tomorrow, humidities will be rising in all of the desert mountain areas. You may see some clouds building. Meanwhile, 2 old storms moved up through the Gulf of Alaska and move up into western Canada, dislodging some cold air, which is now diving southward and will be affecting the northern plains. First, we had a little bit of rain, then the cold air ushered in will likely drop temperatures below freezing for much of the northern plains. Folks, we're talking about a killing frost here in the last full week of summer, which will be affecting much of the northern plains. Meanwhile, all that cold air will be moving south, and here's our local 5-day forecast. Tonight, dense fog advisory for the coastal areas. Our low temperature will get down to 64, 85 tomorrow's high after the morning overcast burns off. But increasing humidities inland, and for the next 2 or 3 days, we're looking for thunder showers building in the mountain areas and maybe a little heavy rain, so watch out carefully. Other than that, with temperatures in the hundreds out in the Inland Empire and humidities creeping up ever so slightly, it'll feel much like it does in Pensacola, Florida this time of year. Enjoy.
Keith Olbermann was down at Dodger Stadium tonight and said watching that fog roll in earlier in the evening is one of the eeriest sights he'd ever seen in Los Angeles.
But we had a piece of videotape from last night. I think it was Candlestick Park, and you see that fog rolling in often, you know, so we got our chance to experience that tonight.
A little drama. Thanks a lot, Mac. Straight ahead tonight, air raid sirens and mortar fire fill the skies in troubled Yugoslavia.
And Liz Taylor has a surefire prescription for anybody wanting to lose weight.
I'm Michael Tuck. Was Oliver North exonerated as he claims? Not unless they've changed the definition. I'll have tonight's perspective.
It's not a fogger. It's not an aerosol either. It's Raid Fumigator. And it kills more bugs dead. Raid Fumigator's clean, dry smoke has twice the penetrating power of aerosol foggers to fumigate twice as many hidden bugs.
Raid! Kill bugs dead with Raid Fumigator Twin, value priced every day at Ralph's.
Raid Fumigator kills bugs dead.
Now, the most revolutionary complex Estee Lauder ever created, and we can prove it. Advanced Night Repair. Use it daily and help prevent environmental UV damage. See a 40% reduction in the look of lines. Use it nightly and help repair your skin's appearance. See a significant increase in moisturization. Advanced Night Repair. So unique. Patented into the 21st century. Advanced Night Repair. Now at the Broadway.
The security of having a home is something I've always dreamed of. It was suggested American Savings Bank might be able to do the financing for us. And the realtor spoke very highly of Sheila Kay, said, if anybody can do this, Sheila can. And Sheila ended up coming to my home at 9 o'clock at night. We sat down and crunched the numbers. And I was settling for a rejection. She kept saying, just hang in there, it's gonna happen. And she looked at me and she said, so, when do you want to close?
Such a gentle way about you, sing
Some headlines making news tonight. The all clear has now been sounded in Zagreb, Yugoslavia. Earlier, air raid sirens were heard throughout the city as federal forces attacked Croatian positions. Shell bursts and anti-aircraft fire rocked the city. No word yet on casualties. Up until now, fighting had killed more than 450 people since Croatia and Slovenia declared their independence.
Negotiations in Jerusalem remain at an impasse. Secretary of State James Baker and Israeli Prime Minister Yitzhak Shamir yet to reach agreement on a Middle East peace conference next month. At issue are a $10 billion loan guarantee package for Israel and continued Jewish settlements in the occupied territories.
And exiled Soviet dissident Alexander Solzhenitsyn can now return to his homeland. Today, Moscow's chief prosecutor dropped treason charges against the 72-year-old Nobel Prize-winning author. He was expelled in 1974 and has been living in Vermont.
Oliver North's days in court are over when a federal judge threw out all the charges against him in the Iran-Contra case a few days ago. North claimed victory. But in his perspective tonight, Michael Tuck says there were no winners in that scandal.
Let's understand one thing right up front. Oliver North was not, as he claims, exonerated. According to my Webster's, exonerate still means to clear of blame and does not mean to beat the system on a technicality. That's precisely what Oliver North has done. Let's not forget the man was convicted of carrying out a scheme to sell arms to Iran and then illegally funnel profits to the Contras in Nicaragua. He also lied about it and destroyed evidence. North was finally allowed to skate only because of an incredibly convenient legal circumstance. You'll recall that North had become an overnight star back when he testified to Congress about the Iran-Contra scandal. Well, an appeals court later ruled that what he told Congress on television might have influenced those witnesses who testified at North's criminal trial. Now, I know this all sounds confusing. In fact, it sounds like a downright legal crock. Oliver North, convicted criminal and liar who just laughed at the Constitution, walks away scot-free on a technicality. Personally, though, I won't lose any sleep over this. After all, North has been exposed for what he really is, and bigger fish in the Reagan administration were probably just as guilty. Why should he go to prison while they go to country clubs? And besides, North has already spent years having to scrape by on a meager $25,000 a speech. Obviously, he's already suffered enough. But what is bothersome to me is the aftermath to all this. President Bush and the rest of the so-called law and order crowd claiming this proves the justice system works. Wonder what they'll say the next time some burglar from the ghetto gets off because the cops forgot to read him his Miranda rights. Apparently, technicalities translate to justice only for right-wing crooks. For them, just beating the system any way they can is total vindication. I'm Michael Tiger. That's my perspective.
And when Jim and I come back tonight, why there wasn't much cheer at TV's most famous pub.
And Paul McCartney says he is not happy with how people tend to remember the Beatles.
Well, you got me dancing in a big bay.
It's coming. Transportation that runs 97% cleaner than gasoline-powered vehicles. In fact, with the Blue Line train from Los Angeles to Long Beach and the electric bus in Santa Barbara, hope for cleaner skies is closer than you may think. It's electric transportation, and we're helping to speed it on its way. Not just energy, creative energy. from Southern California Edison.
To keep your competitive edge, you can phone it there, fax it there, even beam it there. But there's nothing like being there. With US Air and the American Express card, you get a winning combination. The airline that begins with you and the card dedicated to providing unparalleled customer service. US Air and the American Express card. Keep your competitive edge.
Escape. Calvin Klein. At Robinson's.
Channel 2, look at Channel 2. Look at Southern California's Channel 2. Look at Channel 2.
It's here. It's now. It's the 1991 Oldsmobile Summer Clearance. Your best time to take advantage of year-end pricing and get up to $3,000 cash back direct from Oldsmobile or GMAC financing as low as 1.9% on selected models. All of these new 1991 Oldsmobiles have got to go. So if you want to cash in during this special event, you've got to go down to your Southern California Oldsmobile dealers now.
No one is very cheerful tonight at the Boston bar that inspired the hit sitcom Cheers. Today it was revealed that two robbers broke into the Bull and Finch pub 10 days ago, making off with $50,000. One thief reportedly knocked out a worker with a liquor bottle and handcuffed him and the bar's manager to a table. The stolen cash included receipts from the bar's lucrative souvenir business.
Pioneer radio announcer Andre Baruch, one of the first staff announcers for CBS, died this past Sunday. He was 83. His voice was well known. He was heard on radio shows ranging from Your Hit Parade to The Shadow.
The Shadow, mysterious character who aids the forces of law and order, is in reality Lamont Cranston, wealthy young man about town. As the Shadow, Cranston is gifted with hypnotic power to cloud men's minds.
At one time, Baruch was also an announcer for the Brooklyn Dodgers.
From the things we wish we hadn't said department. Singer Paul McCartney is apparently a little fed up with comparisons to former Beatle John Lennon. McCartney told the Toronto Star it was he and not Lennon who led the group in creating experimental music like Revolution No. 9. I was the far out one, McCartney is quoted as saying. He also says Lennon's music isn't any better than his, saying that has been a fantasy in the minds of a few rock journalists. Meanwhile, McCartney's Russian album, which had only been released in the Soviet Union up to now, will arrive here in the West next month, and we can all continue our comparisons and evaluations.
Jim, you want to hear this? I know you do. Liz Taylor has finally revealed her secret to dieting. It is love. Here's how Liz says it works. You get really fat and everybody says, boy, she looks awful. Then you exercise a bit, fall in love, and everybody says, hey, she looks terrific. Simple? Well, Taylor says it works if you can fall in love with the same person over and over again, which of course hasn't exactly been her experience. In 3 weeks, she will marry for the 8th time, this time to Larry Fortensky.
And he looks terrific. Keith is next with sports. He shows us the final out that puts the Dodgers first in their division.
And why Bo finally deserved to take a bow on the field today.
Palmdale, Home Depot announces the grand opening of its newest store with the biggest selection, the best brand names, and guaranteed low prices every day. Come to Home Depot for Level-Or window blinds. Level-Or blinds give any room in your home a contemporary look. And at Home Depot, you'll find a Level-Or to match any decor. At Home Depot, low prices are just the beginning. So visit the new Home Depot in Palmdale, just east of I-14 on Avenue P.
Excuse me, is this line moving?
Well, it seems like it's moving.
Some banks claim their teller lines really move from where they're standing.
Oh!
But Wells Fargo's 5-Minute Max will get you to any teller in less than 5 minutes, guaranteed. That's really moving. Wells Fargo comes through when other banks don't.
September's here. Time to get back to business. And time for the TJ Maxx Career Suit Super Buy. A very special purchase of thousands of famous name suits at a great price. $69.99. Imagine pure wool blends, and rayon blends for just $69.99. Right now, the Career Suit Super Buy at TJ Maxx. Don't miss it.
TJ Maxx.
We must be mad to offer Hoover cleaners at these prices, the best for less, sheer insanity. It's stark raving Hoover madness at Kmart, where you'll be crazy about the prices. Like $99 for a powerful new Hoover Elite 2 upright with attached tools, top tool connection, and convenient double stretch hose. And $179.99 for the effortless self-propelled Concept 1 with a powerful 7-amp motor. We're nuts, but hurry, Kmart's madness won't last. Stark raving Hoover madness now at Kmart.
What a difference a day makes. 24 little hours.
C&R Express Tailoring. Pick out your clothes today, pick them up tomorrow.
What a difference a day makes. And the difference is you.
Express Tailoring, exclusively at C&R.
El Pollo Loco tested its flame-broiled chicken against the Colonel's fried. And it's no surprise that people prefer El Pollo Loco. In fact, people prefer it over a lot of things. Because our chicken is marinated in fresh herbs and fruit juices, then broiled over an open flame. So drop in, buy a 2-piece combo, and get the second one at half price. Meanwhile, we'll continue our research. The one and only taste of El Pollo Loco chicken.
So, Keith was out at Dodger Stadium. What did they got?
Somewhere in the fog.
Oh, it was great. Deep omens and portents.
Portents.
And good ones. Thank you very much. Good ones. Well, it really far out. Really was. Weather phenomenon. Too bad I'm not a weatherman. The Dodgers played through an amazing fog at the stadium, and the Braves were in one in San Francisco. So after an interval of 4 days, it seemed like a month. The Dodgers are back in first. Another former Red tells much of the story. Calvosky Daniels off the left-hander Browning. His former teammate thunders a 3-run homer in the first inning out near where we were sitting. Great start, 3-0. Lampley thinks I'm kidding. Then in came the fog, billowing, curling. Looked like downtown was going up in smoke. From left field, you could not see the right field foul pole. This you could see. Eddie Murray's 397th career home run, and Murray's ticket is for all the stops on the tour. Continuing his hot September, 5-1 Dodgers, and his agent gets right on the phone to start negotiating the new contract. There were tense moments in the 8th. Ojeda makes your life more difficult. Eric Davis snaps out of a season-long sleepwalk to rip the home run, only his 11th of the year, 5-3. Reds put the tying runs on, but Steve Hey, Mr. Wilson, the pickup from the Cubs, gets his first Dodgers save. And speaking of first, the Dodgers are in it.
We've played well, and it's still, I'm not going to say we're going to stay there. It's still going to be a roller coaster to the end, but it definitely feels great to play well and be right back in there. And I knew we would bounce back. I knew the series in Atlanta wouldn't be a long-lasting effect, and it hasn't been.
In fiction, it's an albatross that means bad luck. At Candlestick, it's a pelican. A pelican with gastrointestinal problems, too. Oh. When Dave Justice plops one off Bud Black's glove, the Braves have rallied from down 2-0 to tie at 2. It was my producer's idea. But in the 8th, the Giants actually helped the Dodgers out. Willie McGee, chopper. They get him at first, but Mike Felder scores. Giants win 3-2. The Braves are half a game out. Let's see those darn foam rubber tomahawks now, huh? On the scoreboard, as you see around the league, well, we're going to give you the Nixon story first. Suspended stolen base king Otis Nixon of the Braves had apparently passed more than 200 drug tests before failing the last 2. Nixon has still not made a public statement about the suspension, but we're understanding he told friends it was just a little dog named Checkers. Around the league, Harnish of Houston shuts out San Diego. Drabek of the Pirates win. Expos and Mets split, and the Phillies over St. Louis. Talk about playing out the string. The Angels face Texas. Wally Joyner hits a basic single toward Ruben Sierra of the Rangers. Polonia keeps running from first, and Sierra takes his time. Sierra Madre here. Polonia comes home. Now here's the throw. Too late. Angels win 7-2. Texas fans cheer. 19 games left in the season. The guy with the foul ball celebrates harder than Sierra played. At least he gets a good workout before calling it a night. Maybe calling it a life. Look at this guy. Lisbeth, I'm coming to join you, Lisbeth. In Chicago, after striking out in the fifth, Bo Jackson, that was not him, this is Bo Jackson here, tells a teammate he's going to hit something hard on the blue top. That means center field in Comiskey. Sure enough, seventh inning, it's hit hard. It's on the blue top. Bo's first homer since last September. Bo takes a curtain call. Then again, nobody tackles you when you take a bow. Only run of the game, Bo knows 1-0 shutouts. Kansas City wins. 40 saves for Reardon of Boston, Toronto, and Seattle, as you see. 13 strikeouts for ex-reliever Doug Jones of Cleveland. Power outage at the New York airports and at the New York ballpark. The Yankees are shut out. The Kings and the new San Jose Sharks with an exhibition game in Fresno. 1-1 tie. Kudelski, the only LA goal. Inside the front office, the Kings continue to be very worried about Gretzky's back. Speaking of something to worry about, here's more of the Larry Holmes comeback versus Art Card, Art Dance Card, Art House of Card, Art Boxing Card. Well, maybe the nickname boxing wouldn't be appropriate. Art's card has expired. Holmes wins a unanimous decision. There's talk he might fight Foreman in January. I hope they mean next January. Do not delay, kids. Finally, last week we gave you Kansas City Chiefs dressed up as Chiefs. This week it's a Detroit Lion and a Detroit Lion. Barry Sanders, the Lions runner, posing with Yosef, the running lion. For the magazine Sports Illustrated for Kids, you can't hide your lion eyes. The Lion, of course, swallowed Sanders in one gulp, and Detroit coach Wayne Fonts said the team would now have to switch to a passing game.
Good stuff.
And that lion has no gastrointestinal problems whatsoever.
Thank goodness.
That's it for Action News Nightcast. Thanks very much for sharing your time with us.
And for Matt, Keith, and Lamps, we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
And now toast from the best man, Dan O'Reilly.
So what can I tell you about Sam? Well, he's superstitious. Some of you know that already. And he carries a silver dollar in his pocket. He had that the night he met Martine. And now he's afraid that if he loses it, he'll wake up. Well, that was 6 months ago. And from where I'm standing, Martine looks real enough to me. So, Sam, old friend, hand over that silver dollar because I think I'm going to need it more than you. To Sam and Martine, and a wonderful marriage.
Thanks.
So you finally took the fall. Bachelor Circuit's gonna miss you.
So will a few bartenders.
Martine, you look stunning.
Thanks. Oh, Charles, I'd like you to meet Philippe, my brother.
How are you? Hi.
Charles is the cultural attaché at the American Embassy. Be nice to him.
Glad you could come. 6 months.